going on, guys? Today we're gonna go over what you're dipping and what that means about you. If you usually dip, say grizzly or something like that, what that would mean about you. So I got some of my most recently chewed or dipped. Damn, I gotta stop doing that. Dipped cans here. Also, newsflash. Around here, you know how Copenhagen Wintergreen here has those like nifty little can lids that have the deer and stuff on them like that. Well, I got the last one with the deer on it, which are I also have one with ducks and stuff on it, but whatever. You find those all the time, but I got the last one in my hometown with the deer on it. So, to all you other people in my town, because it's awesome. Today I think for this video I'm gonna throw in see, I just dipped wintergreen. I mean, that's really all I got right now. Whatever. We'll put in could put in some of my Kodiak, but that's my buzzer, so I'll go over that. You know what? Let's see how much Kodiak I have left. I got another text message. Nah, we'll go with Copenhagen. I want to buzz tomorrow morning when I wake up. Wake and dip. We're just gonna put a little guy in there. Just take, take a little pinch. Ooh, wow. There, take a little pinch like that. So, it feels so good in my lip. So without further ado, let's go over what these special kinds of dips mean to you. Now, I'm not going to go over like your basics, I said grizzly earlier, but we ain't going to use that today. I'm going to go over more of the more dips that are seasonal and kinda, people don't dip them as much because we all know what, the original like grizzly wintergreen and we all know what that means about you. That's what you like and stuff like that. Also, if you know what I'm talking about. So we're gonna go over some of the lesser known dips. Now I do have some like well known dips in here, and I'm gonna tell you what those mean about you. But I got stuff like whiskey blend and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get into this. So the first dip we're gonna go off with is none other than one of my least favorites. Actually, I hate this stuff. Copenhagen Natural. So what this dip kind of means about you, it means you're kind of more of a laid back person. You take this, you throw it in whatever you're dipping, stuff like that. It means you probably don't dip as much as a normal guy, but you don't dip like once every couple of months. You know what I mean? Probably like, let's go with like 4 dips a week or something like that. You're not an everyday dipper, as me and my buddies are. What else to say about Copenhagen Natural? I don't know, I just don't really like it that much. Obviously, your taste buds are all sorts of fucked up, because this stuff tastes like pure and utter shit. So, basically, you're just hanging out with your buddies, they throw a dip in, hey, why not join them? You throw a little bit in. It's not much to write home about, it's just something that you do every once in a while, because you're a laid-back person. You don't need to dip every day. Not because you don't want to deal with addiction or anything like that. It's just, it's not your thing. Maybe you're more of a smoker or something like that. But to me, that's what Copenhagen Natural means. My buddy actually just bought a can a day, and he is a guy who dips like once, every couple of days, stuff like that. So he's going to have that can for a while, and this is a trusty can to have with you if you like it and you like to, just kick back with your friends. So that's Copenhagen Natural, and that's what it means about you. Now, let's go next with Copenhagen Black. Now, Copenhagen Black is a seasonal dip, mostly in the wintertime, especially around here. Basically, couple months, probably a month and a half before Thanksgiving starts, we get this up here. It's a bourbon blend from Copenhagen. I don't know if I showed you guys this up front or not, but that's what the can looks like. Black and gold, incredibly sexy can. And what this dip means about you is that you are a committed dipper. most people like wait on the edge of their seats for this stuff to come out. It means that you are a dip connoisseur. You are a tobacco god. It means that, you know, people, it's all over the place when it's out, but it means that when people ask you if you want a dip, you probably got like 4 or 5 cans hanging in your Carhartt or something like that. You pull this out and be like, this is Copenhagen Black, and it is one of the best things you ever put in your lip. And you can tell them all about Copenhagen and all about Grizzly and what the dips are and how much nicotine is in them. You are just a smartass when it comes to dip, because this makes you just dip Jesus. This means that you have waited a year for this to come out, and you are no longer dipping stupid wintergreen anymore. Look at me, I'm hypocritical, I'm dipping wintergreen. But Copenhagen Black also means that you are probably an everyday dipper. It means that you go through your cans pretty fast, maybe even a can a day. And it kind of, it brings you back to your roots when you had, you know, when you were first starting out and you found your first can of Whiskey Blend, and this is like Whiskey Blend's grandpa. This is a bourbon, which means it's more badass than Whiskey Blend. And Whiskey Blend's a pretty badass dip. So to all you who chew dip Copenhagen Black, thank you, you badasses, because you guys keep putting this back on the shelf for me, because you guys keep buying it logs at a time. Thank you so much. So that's what Copenhagen Black means about you. Now, I just talked about Whiskey Blend, so let's go to the grandson of Copenhagen Black. Cope Whiskey Blend. Now, for all you people who say that Cope and Copenhagen are two completely different companies, it's not. The answer's right there. Come on, they're from like the same people. They're not completely different dips. In fact, it is basically, you know, just like, well, back to that analogy, it's Copenhagen's grandson. Not too much different about it. This is a bit lighter dip than Copenhagen Black. So what this means about you is that you are a young gun. You are a young buck. You are probably single, but you're probably a lady killer. And you throw this in. I've gotten a couple buzzes off this. Not much, not as much as Copenhagen Black. But, you know, it means that you have a little bit of badass in you, but you haven't fully come to that potential. This probably means that you're probably, you know, let's say 9 months into your dipping experience, or maybe even a year. It's definitely not a starter dip, but it's definitely not something that you would see the old pros dipping. You know what I mean? It's kind of more of a, what's the word for that? I don't even know the word. It's more of a smooth lady killer. You know, you probably drink a lot of whiskey, and you're probably, you know, out with your boys a lot, and you're probably on the go, and, you know, you probably don't give a damn what anyone thinks. So that's what Cope Whiskey Blend means about you. It means that you are a mover. You are a go-getter kind of guy and or gal. Now before we move on to the next one, I just want to say that one more thing that I didn't say about Copenhagen Natural. I already said I hate it, but let's just go and say this, that don't dip Copenhagen Natural if you're like a year into your dipping, because it's honestly kind of a pussy dip. Anyway, keep going. Now let's go on to my special can that I don't even know if I'm going to dip because it's so damn cool. I don't want to get rid of it, so maybe I'll just keep the can. Maybe pop the can and put it on my hat. Copenhagen Wintergreen is a dip that definitely has earned its stake. It definitely is one of the most, you know, next to Grizz Wintergreen, it's probably one of the most, you know, bought dips of all time, and it's incredibly popular. So what this means is that you are an everyday dipper. People who dip wintergreen a lot, they're probably everyday dippers, because wintergreen is something that's hard for, you know, beginners to handle. It's hard for even people who are a month in to handle, because it doesn't taste, I mean, there's a lot of variations in your wintergreen, like Hawkins kind of tastes more like root beer, Kodiak tastes like pine needles. This is a wintergreen that has more of a sweet, smooth flavor to it. and it definitely means that you are an everyday dipper. So this means what it would mean about you, with you being an everyday dipper, means that you are just, not always on the go, but you probably like to sit down in front of the TV and you put a dip in and feel a little buzz and stuff like that. Probably downstairs with your boys and or girls, just, chilling, watching TV. And you do it on the go. You probably go to Walmart and put it and stuff like that. Probably means you don't travel very far. You're kind of a homebody. That's what wintergreen means about you. Or it could also mean, it's got two things. It could mean that you're out in the woods a lot. And it could mean that, like, maybe you're the hunting type, or maybe you're the kind that still sits a lot. Like maybe you're in the deer stand or something like that. If you're one of those people who dips when they're in the deer stand, or something like that, bear hunting, turkey hunting, stuff like that. Maybe it just means you're sitting on the side of a hill. You're not a fast mover, but you move, and you're kind of more of you like to be in one place at one time. And that's what the Copenhagen wintergreen means. Well, to me, this is basically what I've seen in my town. Now let's move on to, let's finish off the Copenhagens. And let's go to, the Granddaddy. Now this is one of the dips I was talking about where it's just like wintergreen, it's pretty popular. This is kind of the Granddaddy of dip. This is like the king. But it's kind of the king that kind of fell out of power, you know what I mean? He's still got some power, but not much. He's like a figurehead. He's like the Queen of England. Let's say King of England because it's a manly dip. And it is manly. And this means that you are most certainly the guy who was out in the woods skinning a bear or taking down freaking a pack of wolves like one-handed. And this is an everyday dipper dip, you know. And you don't usually, because there's a thing about Copenhagen. I think I said this in one of my other videos. It is long cut, but it doesn't pack as well as, say, a wintergreen or something, so it kind of falls all over the place. So it takes a little bit more experience. If you want to get into fine cut, buy a couple cans of this so you can get a little practice, and then switch to fine cut, which is something I hate. I hate fine cut. But, so it basically, you're going, say, you're going up the side of a mountain, you found a damsel in distress. You don't think you look sexy enough, so you pop one of these in. You're gonna get her in your bed it's super quick. That's how this works. It is just, the outlaw dip. This means you are an outlaw. So that's what that means. Now, before we get to the final one, let's talk about the pussy dip that I dipped in my first video. Longhorn. This means you're poor. This means that you live on a box on the side of the road in the middle of the city, and you just need to have something to calm you down. If it even calms you down. I don't think I've ever buzzed off this stuff. So basically, you're probably a school kid who don't have a job. That's what that means. That's all I gotta say about that. Don't waste your time with Longhorn. Now the final dip is something that I've talked about. Around here, it's the strongest stuff you can buy. Good old Kodiak. Now, someone's outside my window. What the hell? So Kodiak means that you are just the king. You are the king of dip. And there's not much else to say about that. You are a badass. That's what that means. I got nothing else to say about that. So that's what Kodiak means. That's what these dips kind of mean about you. Or in my experience. So, take it or leave it. To each his own. Still don't know what that means. We should Google that. But I got stuff to do, so see you guys next video.